السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hi everyone. This is عبدالمجيد مرزوق from the Inspire the World channel. We are interviewing expertise in business and management to inspire you with success story. Today we are having a special guest from Geneva, from EIBM Institute, Mr. Bernard Gracia, the CEO and founder of EIBM. We are talking today about how the world is changing and how adapt ourselves as a procurement with this kind of changes. We talk a lot about soft skills, about Kraljic Matrix, and the question is, as a procurement guy, as a procurement specialist, can we isolate ourselves from humanity and focus only on business? Welcome, Mr. Bernard, to our podcast to inspire the world.
Salam alaikum. Shukran for this welcome.
Thank you very much. So you know how many words in Arabic? You know a lot?
Two at least. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam.
That's all, huh?
No, kawa.
Okay. طيب, now, as you know, Mr. Bernard, that the world is keep changing. And this is one of the difficulties we are having at the moment. So how the procurement could adapt with this kind of changes?
Yeah, you said the world is changing. The world starts changing some years ago, and it has been accelerating with COVID. So if we go back on the main changes, it's first COVID has been bringing people working remotely. At the same time, COVID brings some shortage in different products. At the same time, we're working and we have to work concerning what is about global footprint in terms of carbon sustainability. We're facing also a change in digitalization, intelligence, artificial intelligence. So all these elements are bringing a lot of changes in our world. And as you see, there are some changes which are technical and other which are concerning behavior of people. So all this is affecting procurement around the world based on the fact that first, when you speak about people, we have less people working as a workforce. So there is a big need in terms of procurement for young people working on procurement. So this is a very important aspect for procurement. Second point is digitalization may bring automation. May bring a lot of elements which were not necessarily common. For instance, artificial intelligence is going to help procurement in finding new sources, connecting this artificial intelligence with all the software we have is going to change the work of procurement in transaction, in finding suppliers around the world. So this is facilitating. Another element which is also important is we were global and we're still global, but at the same time, following the COVID, this globalization become more regional. So basically, a company is still global, but is working as a multiple regionalization. So this is changing and is possible with all the digitalization we have. The last point with the big change is about the sustainability. Today, you know that we try to go for this zero carbon, which is not yet, but everybody has to work toward this emission zero, decreasing in terms of carbon emission. So it's not only the country, it's not only the kingdom which has to decrease, but the kingdom has to decrease. And for decreasing, this means that the companies has to decrease carbon emission and also people. So if we say now company has to decrease carbon emission, you know that the emission of one company is based on what you buy, but also on what we produce. And basically, when you say we're buying carbon. When I work with a supplier, this supplier is producing a product in which you have carbon. So we used to have a triptych, if you want, 3 points for a buyer. It was the cost, it was the quality, and it was the delivery, the lead time. Today, we have to add the carbon. So basically, today you may say, can I buy this product A, which is carbon less carbon but a bit more expensive, or a bit more expensive, and this product A, which has less carbon, but which has, more carbon, but which is more expensive. And tomorrow we're going to say, hey, you have to buy product without carbon, but which is cheaper. So we have to work on some elements which is called some design to cost. How can we use less product for defining new solution? And this is a change in our world. The procurement is not a word of transaction. It's not, your work is not transaction. It's not just you pay an invoice and so on and so forth. You have to find solutions on the market, innovation, start working with startups, where the elements of carbon is going to be taken into consideration, where digitalization is taken into consideration, where artificial intelligence is taken into consideration. So there is a big change, and this big change needs new competence. And I think it's important to welcome young people in this world. And when we speak about new competence, it's about the elements of digitalization being open on technology. When you behind your computer, you just look and put some figures. No, now you have to go for data crunching, and you're going to link this data with artificial intelligence. Is going to help you to make some forecasts and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of game, but it's not a game; it's a reality. And so we need these new people for this challenging job, which is procurement. So you know that in procurement we buy around 80% of what you produce, 80%, 80, so which is a lot. So you understand why raw procurement in carbon is important, because when you buy 80%, you buy 80% of your carbon. So we have to work on these elements. We have to work on element of cost. We have to still work on quality. We have to work here on the elements of localization, local content. In Europe or in the rest of the world, we speak about regionalization because we want to be more independent from China, and it's a big challenge. You have exactly the same. So it's going all this being combined to say which are the profiles for tomorrow and which are the organization for tomorrow, basically.
Now you are talking about the footprint. What does it mean, footprint?
The carbon footprint, you mean?
Yes.
As I said, a company is buying, producing, selling. Okay? So basically, when you produce, you're going to have some carbon emission. What you buy is also product as carbon. And when you sell, transportation and so on, you're creating also carbon. So the idea is, how can we decrease this carbon footprint?
Why we need to decrease it?
Because we want to have a sustainable world. I mean, we want our kids be capable to live in a world. So it's not you not deciding. We decided to be sustainable, to be in a green environment. Not necessarily green here. I mean, but
yes,
being a kind of in an environment in which we can live.
We decided. You mean the planet?
No,
the world.
I mean, we don't want to live in a cloud. We don't want to live in a fog. We want to live in air, fresh air.
Yes.
So we realize that we have been polluting a lot, and this pollution is how can we decrease this pollution? So this is the idea of carbon, and a big part of the pollution is based on not only on what we're producing, what we're consuming, but also on what we're buying to produce. So this is all about these stories. And when we realize, as we say, that 80% of what we buy, 80% of what we sell, is bought, this is a very important role for procurement to try to decrease the carbon we buy, basically.
Yes. Also for KSA, we are aiming to have the net zero by 2060. This is regarding the footprint carbon. One thing regarding the remotely working, do you think that the old generation is still trying to go to the offices and the young generation need to work remotely?
It's a difficult question to an old man. So I'm in favor of working in office. Okay, not for obliging people to work in office, but for networking, for the social life. So you have two lives. You have your family life and your social life. And a part of your social life is not only with friends, it's also in your office. So when you work remotely, you realize that you're in front of your computer. You have thousands of friends in LinkedIn or in any social network. But in fact, these social networks are very virtual. We realize that a lot of survey now and research have been made since 5 years. So we're working remotely, and you start seeing in the States and in Europe people willing to come back to office because there is a lack of a relation in office. Working all your day at home is going to take away a part of your social life, which is the life you have with your colleague, and which is not a life with your friends or with your colleague from sports. It's a life where you enrich yourself by exchanging. So I've been believing since the beginning that this social life was important because you build on, you have a trustable relation with your company, and you have a duration in your relation. So now, young generation believe that we can work everywhere in the world remotely. What I think, I mean, I don't say we cannot, but what I'm saying is working alone independently is going to have a certain duration. I don't know if in 20 years from now, these same people will be willing to work alone.
So just a black and white question. Do you agree to work remotely or not?
Yeah, I agree to work remotely. But
100%. No offices at all.
No.
It's very difficult.
No, it's very easy to work remotely. That's the problem.
I mean 100%.
Yeah, at 100%, it's easy to work remotely because I'm not sure everybody work 100% remotely. And when you work remotely, I don't think you work 100%. So that's the reason why I say it's easy. But I don't think you can, so you can work remotely. But I don't think you bring all what you bring into a company by working only remotely. And I don't think that you build your social life if you're not working with people. So, but the new generation doesn't have exactly the same feeling in terms of relation with a company and in terms of social work. The relation with company, as we're working remotely, we can work from Australia, from the States, or from China, and being just in relation. They bring the value through 2 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, and they share through social network. But getting to the company to see people, to see our friends, to take a coffee, a kawa together, this is not the feeling. And this, I think, has been changing, and I'm not sure that the new generation is willing to go back working 100%. We go back working. There is a willingness to go and work. And there's some companies saying, okay, why our blue collar have to go online to work and not remotely, because you're not going to build a car remotely. And why the white collar could have the authorization of working remotely. So you have started getting
still I believe it is debatable.
Yeah. But I mean, the point for the main difference for buyers, we were speaking about purchasing procurement people. A big part of the work of procurement people were to visit companies, to visit potential suppliers, to visit the line, and so on and so forth. Since COVID, a lot of technology has been implemented, sending, for instance, glasses to the suppliers and say, okay, you go now and you go and visit your companies, and I want to see this line, this line, this line. So I was staying in the office, in my office, and I was conducting, if you want, the supplier to help me to visit virtually his company with the glasses I sent him. So you can work even when you are doing we're working in procurement. You can work remotely, but I don't think you have the same relation with supplier. This guy is not going to see you. He's not going to exchange your glass. No shaking hands. And I think this is a main point for me. It's humanity. When I was speaking about humanity, I think the relation we have with people is very important. It's not just sending an email. It's not just sending WhatsApp. It's speaking about your family, speaking about what you're doing. It's being human. And with digitalization, is virtualization. Everything is virtual. And what's missing and what we need is much more humanity in our system.
But do you think that the leader or the manager, they have different style and they isolate themselves between the business and family, and they said no humanity here? Do you think it's relying on the character of the leader?
Yeah, you have some people who say no humanity, but I don't think it's reliable on the long term. I mean, wherever you are, you need humanity. I mean, you cannot say getting across a person who is lying in your office dying and say, okay, I don't care. So humanity is taking care of what's going on around yourself. So you can be much more strict in your business, but with your family, or more strict with your family with in your business. But humanity is part of yourself, and we need humanity. I was taking the example of digitalization. Digitalization today helps you to run completely the process. Okay, so the supplier is bringing all information and push a button and blah, 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 it's gone.
Mm.
Now, if you have a problem somewhere in the system, there is nobody. Nobody can help you say, hey, I have a problem. My invoice has not been paid. Why? There is a problem in the system. So can you solve it? I'm not in charge. I'm in procurement. Yeah, but you're buying to myself. Yeah, but this is a process. So this is IS. It's not. No. This is digitization. So at the end, we got this problem. 6 months delayed, because there was a problem somewhere and nobody knew exactly where, because nobody is in charge of this process. So when I speak about humanity, is somebody needs to be in the system. Even though we are 100% digital, you need a bit of human being somewhere in to put some oil in the system, because without human people, I mean, it's not working. I'm sorry.
I got your point. This is one of the lesson learned. You always share with your presentation, humanity. I believe you have other lesson learned. You need to share it also with the audience.
One also is humility.
What does it mean?
Humility. I know a lot of procurement people don't know how to word the word humble. Okay, humility. Humble means when you work with a supplier, it may be a small supplier, but if you work with this supplier is an expert in what he's doing. So humble means that you're not going to explain him or her what he has to do. Okay, humility is just considering people as they are, at the level they are, and not because you're a buyer and you have money because you're a big company, but they are nothing. Okay, and I think being humble is just to accept, to look at, to be sorry sometimes, and just lessons learned. This small supplier can give you some lesson in terms of expertise. So this is humility, what we call humility. And another lessons learned is about communication. I mean, people in procurement, people are communicating very badly. I mean, they don't know how to communicate. We realized recently that when you look at business card, a lot of procurement people, or if you take the emails from procurement, a lot of this email, you have the title of the guy, sometimes what they're buying, but you have less and less their phone number.
Mm.
So it means, how do you want to contact these people? This is the point. They don't want to be contacted. At the same time, they are crying everywhere, but nobody loves them.
Do you mean once, for example, I am as a buyer or specialist, once I floated RFQ or I send an email to buyer, to the vendors, I'm just hiding the email and the mobile number.
You have on the signature, you have your name. You may have your title, the category you're buying, the address, your email address is in, but very frequently now you don't have a telephone number. So and this is quite a general rule.
Do you think sometimes that because of the load I have, I'm trying to hide the mobile number?
Yeah, it's because we don't want to be disturbed by potential suppliers. But willing not to be disturbed means not communicating. So your role is to select the suppliers you want to speak with. So, but at the same time, so among the suppliers, you may have small companies. Again, maybe perhaps your startup with which we're going to work. So the point is communicating is not only sending email, it's also phoning. And people are losing the knowledge of phoning, the voice, listening the silence, listening somebody who is smiling on the phone. And people don't know how to do it. And an email is totally flat. There is no sensation in an email. So I think these are lessons learned during these few months. I know a point which is our motto is values for value. I think values for value. What we mean here is you cannot create value with your supplier or with your stakeholder if you don't have values. Basically, you're not going to kill your supplier. And then killing means to try to squeeze him in terms of price. And then after, to ask him to help you.
They will never help you.
He will, except if he needs, but I mean, he will never forget that you have been trying to squeeze him. So basically, you need values to listen these guys, to be humble, to listen what he's saying, and to do what you do, to do what you say, and to say what you do. So to be transparent. So values, okay, values. And with this value, you can create a relation with your supplier. And based on this relation, you can develop business. One key point today, we say the world is changing. And one big change we did not speak about is you have less and less suppliers. Okay, yes, you have less and less suppliers due to the technology, due to perhaps regionalization and so on and so forth. And if you have less suppliers, the supplier you have to develop a relation. Supplier relationship management is not a tool, is not a practice, it's a philosophy. You have to be considered by your supplier as a preferred client, even though you're a small one, because you're developing a technology, because you pay on the short term, because you're exporting and so on and so forth. So you have to be considered, even though you're not the first client, but you have to be considered as the... And this is based on values. This is based on the relation you're going to develop.
But how do you resolve the issue of less supplier? For example, under one category, I have only one supplier. What I have to do?
So first, if you are one supplier means there is only one supplier existing on the market, or there is one supplier you selected. So it's not exactly the same. So you may have been selecting only one supplier among the suppliers which are existing, because you define a strategy and you say, I want to concentrate all my business with these suppliers. So you decided. If you have only one supplier on the market due to your technology, due to mainly due to the technology or due to the expertise of this supplier, you can try to develop a new supplier. And if it's not possible, you can work with some people who are buying also the same thing to consolidate. If it's a pretty important product, some people start doing it again, So you have different ways of doing, but it may take time. You can't go from developing a better relation with suppliers till consolidating what you buy with others, till developing a new suppliers. So, or changing the technology you're using to get out of the supplier. Okay, so there are different possibilities, short-term or long-term possibilities.
Yes, sometimes I'm restricted with only one supplier existing. And sometimes for me, I don't have the time to search for more than one supplier. This is the only database I have. Mm-hmm. So in this situation, I have to move with the next step, which is floating RFQ with awarding, and I have limited time. What I have to do in this case?
What you have to do is, I will go with suppliers not to try to negotiate the price, but to try to negotiate the volume. Okay, if you have one supplier, you have to secure the price. Is one point, but for me, it's not the most important. The role of buyer, the role of procurement is to support the business. If you ask me, how can you define procurement? Procurement is the first step in selling. Okay, you cannot sell if I'm not providing you. Okay, so basically, the company can grow, can develop the business if procurement is buying the right quantity, the right volume to produce and to sell. So basically, if I don't have the volume, I'm not going to be able to sell. Okay, so my role as procurement is not necessarily to argue and to discuss and negotiate for a price. The price is adaptable. Okay, what is not adaptable is the volume.
The volume is the number, the quantity.
The quantity, I mean.
Okay.
So if you have only one supplier, is developing a relation to secure at least the volume. After you have always way to negotiate and to try, but on the short term is securing. And don't say you have the strongest one.
Because this is what is called the economy of scale.
Yeah, I know. We call it rather supplier relationship management.
Supplier relationship.
SRM. Supplier relationship is to show the supplier he has to consider you as an important client, even though because you're going to help him to enter a new market and so on and so forth.
Very nice. This is maybe will be a good entrance for Kraljic Matrix. I visited you in Geneva and I saw a picture with you with this tools, Kraljic Matrix. I need just explanation of that tools.
If you want this to be very simple, the stretching matrix is based on the fact that you have a market. On this market, you may have a lot of suppliers, very few suppliers. So market is difficult or easy. And on other side, you say, I'm buying a lot or I'm buying very few. So if you're buying a lot and if you have a lot of suppliers, this is competition and it's pretty easy. It's just consolidation. Competition is what we're going to call leverage. So, and if you buy very few and you have very few suppliers, it's very strategic. So the point is understanding how the market is, the importance of this market, importance if you have a lot of suppliers or very few, if it's difficult. And on the other end is understanding what you buy in terms of volume and in terms of specificity. So it's very pragmatic. When you go for shopping, if you go to a bazaar, you have a lot of potential suppliers going to sell you some olives. And you want a lot of olives, so you have a choice, you go into bargain and so on and so forth. This is exactly one quadrant. On another end, if you have only one supplier of book, yes, Peter Kraljic books, you have only one supplier and you're going to
partnership.
To partner. Okay, so this is the idea of a matrix. And what's important with this matrix has been developed for the procurement department, had to understand what you're buying on the market, and now it's more and more used for each category.
Do you think that the issue, we hear a lot about the Kraljic strategic sourcing, but still there is a theory, but nobody is implementing and executing?
No, I would not say that. You have it's implemented. It's quite well implemented. In fact, we have a lot of courses on category strategy, and for each course you have some pre-learning, some learning where you go for understanding the strategy, the matrix, and then people have a project implementing their strategy. So it's implemented. Now you start getting some tools, automatic tool with this matrix. The point is, I think it's implemented for big categories. We start getting it more and more for services, for instance, for non-product related. But I think the maturity of an organization can be understood for the utilization of certain tools, such as this one. So, but I would say that Peter Kraljic Matrix is quite well understood and developed.
Okay. One thing, how can I select the priority of the category under the Kraljic Matrix? How can I say that this category I should start with it right now, the second category will be followed, or how can I set the priority for the category?
You sell. I mean, the priority is based on the volume you're buying, and the spend. The spend, which is and the number of suppliers. I mean, if you have a lot of suppliers, potential supplier, big spend, I think you have quick wins, easy to make some savings. If you have one supplier and one spend, you say it's going to take times to redefine the product or to source a new supplier. So the quick wins is easy to get. It's about it's still negotiation, consolidation, negotiation. So these are the quick wins, and you can get money very quickly.
Okay. Also,
but it's not only the role of buyer or purchasing to get money, to get savings. The role of purchasing is depending what you sell is to support the sales. So you may need big volume and cheap price because you sell products that everybody is selling. So you have to grasp some market share, or you can sell some innovation. If you sell innovation, you have to find a startup selling innovation, and the price is not the point. What's important for you is to get innovation before your competitor. So your negotiation is, I want to get the contract. I want to get this innovation for a certain time. But the price is not an issue, Ray, because you're going to sell a product that nobody else has, and you're going to be the leader on the market, and the price will not be an issue.
Yes. Can you give me an example, me and the audience, about the innovation and get the innovation before the competitors?
All the innovation, basically, it's look at the first, let's say the first Apple iPhone. First iPhone, what was an innovation is not the touchscreen. Is not the innovation was the apps and the capability for a telephone to include apps.
The software. The software.
Yeah, the software. So basically, this innovation has helped Apple to be a leader. So the point is, how can you take this innovation before your competitor? And the point is whether your sourcing people, the procurement, is going to find this innovation, or the suppliers come to see you, say, hey, I have an innovation. But to come and see you, you need a telephone number on your email. And again, this is a reality.
Yes, I get it.
If you don't have this, the startup is going to see your R&D. And if the supplier, potential supplier, go and see the R&D, basically procurement is bypassed. And the procurement will have just to sign a contract. So this is not what we want.
Okay, great. One thing about the competency for the individual and the organization.
Well, two things. First, we started by saying that the world is changing. So in terms of competence, the competence are also changing. So we still need what we call this technical competence. A buyer should know about the legal, he should know about cost, he should know about category management, economy, understanding the inflation, understanding the hedging, so all these elements, understanding about innovation and so on and so forth. So first, the competence are to be the fundamental competence in economies. Okay, let's say understanding the cost structure and so on. The second, he has to understand the product we're selling and we're buying, what we call business acumen. Okay. Now, what we have been adding with this crisis is we need to be much better in terms of communication. It's what we call active listening. Active listening means asking the other one to repeat to be sure we understood clearly. We have to work more on behavior, all the behavioral elements, which were not so formalized before. But which are more and more important. So it's about listening, but it's also about all the elements. We spoke about humility, humanity. So these are elements of values we need to have more. And to understand how to work with a startup compared to how to work with a big company. So the adaptation, the agility, so our new soft competence we need in our job.
This is to individual.
Individual. So now, when we speak about a company, the organization.
Yes.
Yeah, the organization. So for the competence, we have a tool for evaluating the competence of people, an online tool to validate if they know in terms of theory and if they know how to implement. Because it's not the same thing. You may have a theory of contract, but you never did a contract, for instance. So we have to understand to have a clear training after. Concerning the organization, we speak about maturity of the organization, meaning do you have a procurement organization which is still in the transaction? The role is just to bring an invoice or to bring a PO, purchase order to, and to make an invoice. So this is really paper. It's only transaction. Now you have an organization who may be more working with a designer to be what we call upstream, to try to identify potential risk in the future to decrease cost. And you have an organization which is working with suppliers for the future. So all these different steps of maturity, you can identify via different tools. We have a tool for the maturity of the organization. It's going to identify where you are in the process and to help you identifying what are the main elements to implement to close the gaps in terms of maturity. But I mean, you can be at the maturity of transaction and go up very quickly by implementing some practices, some process, changing some people, automation, and so on and so forth. And you can go very fast if you take some consulting help or consultancy helping you in moving forward. But you have to know where you are to facilitating your growth, basically.
Okay, great. I believe you have a partnership here in KSA with Supply Chain and Procurement Society to work on the supply chain maturity
Yeah,
assessment.
we're working on supply chain maturity, and this supply chain maturity can help to go for some awards, what we call EIP and Peter Kraljic Awards. It's going to reward
There is a reward, huh?
Yeah, there is an award at the global level.
Do you have any reward here in KSA?
Yeah, we as a award we got STC, who has been awarded Company of the Year, and Tasni has been also awarded.
Very nice.
And so it's comparing companies, level of maturity of company the same year. And we have also a tool, the same tool, it can help to certify company in terms of maturity. So you're not comparing companies, but you're comparing a company vis-a-vis the references, the IPM references. And Tasni has been certified on gold and then the year after in platinum, because they have been improving what they've been doing. So it's a way for a company to be recognized vis-a-vis the suppliers and also being recognized internally for what you've done.
One of the things that I attended with you, CBO workshop, I believe also you did a great partner with ECS, Elite. And the beauty of that we will have the theoretical part. In addition to that, we met CBOs from Geneva, and even there is a site visit. This is, I believe, a unique course we had.
Yeah, this course has been developed for CPOs from KSA. This course is going to be, we're going to do it again by end of November. Sorry. So we designed a course taking into consideration some needs, speaking about local content, speaking about innovation, speaking about decarbonation. So this course was dedicated for KSA. And we're going to do it again because I think it was a success. Yeah.
I believe now EIBA more than 30 years, and you are the founder and the CEO for that. If you need to give a message to the people, what will be the message?
To people in procurement or willing to go on procurement? People in procurement is first is a great job, is a great function, but you have to believe in what you're doing. So what I mean here is you have to trust what you're doing. You have to believe what you're doing. It's a teamwork. So trying to be the best is one thing, but it's a teamwork. So depending on the category you're buying, you may have some people who are better than yourself, and you may be better than another category. But I think it's believing in what you're doing. The second point is learn, as in other jobs, because the job is changing. So you have to learn about the new technologies. You have to learn about artificial intelligence. You have to learn about decarbonation. So learning to be on the front edge. It's an important job of relation. As sales, you're going to meet a lot of people. Meaning meeting people means not only for negotiation, is to communicate. So you need behavior, you need values. We spoke about values. We spoke about this humanity. We spoke about this humility. And I think it's if you are yourself and if you trust what you're doing, you'll be successful.
Okay, great. I believe you are focusing a lot on the soft skills more than the technical skills in procurement.
No, what I think is technical skill is a foundation, okay? If you don't have technical skills, meaning cost, finance, understanding economy, understanding business, whatsoever, it's not necessary you go for procurement. So the first thing is get at least these foundation skills. When you get that, we need to put another layer, which is about behavior. Because if you have only the technical skills, you can work just in front of your computer, it's back office. But don't go in front of a supplier, don't try to be in a relation because you're going to be killed. If you are dry as a computer, you're not going to do a lot of job in the relation. You have some people who are trying to develop strategies only behind a computer without visiting any supplier. The first thing is understanding the supplier, visiting supplier, understanding who they are, the problems they may have, and where they're going in the future. If you're not discussing with people, you're not going to understand anything. So you can do wonderful matrix, you can do wonderful Excel, and then, this supplier is not existing, but that's the one I selected.
No movement. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much. We need just from you just to watch the camera and say, to inspire the world.
To inspire the world. Shukran.
To inspire the world with Mr. Bernard from Geneva, EIBM. Thank you very much.
Shukran.
Thank you.